show you how to do this on two different flight controllers, on a Naze using Baseflight and also on a Multiwii based flight controller using version 2.3 and their GUI. But firstly, I just want to show you the physical side of what we're trying to achieve here, because some of you might be confused having not done a tricopter. You actually have to set the direction of the servo so that it moves the right way to correct tail movement correctly. If you get this wrong, the thing will just literally spin in the air on you, and rather than have you mess that up and potentially crash, I thought I'd show you how to do it on the bench. So I've got here a Naze board that's being powered up externally on a receiver. We've got a servo, and you'll like my very special blue motor here, which I've got stuck on, just so you can see a bit more easily what we're doing. Now, probably the thing that confuses most people with the servos on a tricopter is the fact that the movement is actually counterintuitive. Basically, if the motor turns that way and points counterclockwise, the front, it pulls the frame. So if it tilts this way, the frame will go that way. If it tilts that way, the frame goes this way. Alright. So when you've got your radio sitting next to your tail and you move your rudder control, as you can see, the motor works, the servo works, almost opposite to how the stick goes. Okay. Now, by the way, if you've done your radio setup, don't reverse the channel in your radio if this is wrong. You have to change it in the software, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. Alright, so the motor always appears to go, as a tail motor, in the opposite direction of your yaw stick. And also when you pick up the airframe and pivot it, the motor tends to point, it looks like it's lagging the movement. You might be able to see that. Right? So when I go clockwise, it seems to point the wrong way. It seems to like lag the movement. Okay? I'm just going to reverse in the software so you can see what happens if you've got this the wrong way around. How it works. Save that. Alright. How it is if you've got it the wrong way around and I move it, the motor looks like it's pointing in the direction of the correction. Direction of the correction? Yeah, that's bad. Or if I grab my radio again, the motor seems to move, the servo tilts in the same direction as the stick. That's what you can't have. This is the wrong way around, because what will happen is if the airframe goes that way and the motor tilts that way, corrects that way, that'll just mean it'll just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, likewise the other way. So that's the wrong way around, and this is the correct way around. So it looks like it's wobbling the wrong way. Okay? I'll show you how to do that in the software shortly, but that's what you need to find. The other thing I'm going to cover in the software setup is the amount of travel you get on the servo. So the max tilt in one direction and the maximum tilt in the other direction you need to adjust in the software. So I'll show you how, be back shortly, and I'll show you how to do that. So here we are in Baseflight, and I've got connected and I've got set up for tricopter, everything's working. I've done all the rest of the setup. The last thing I'm going to do is go to the servos tab. Now you have to have the latest Baseflight firmware loaded and the latest Baseflight configurator to be able to actually access this window. And basically it's pretty simple. You've got endpoints for the servo you can adjust, a midpoint for the servo, a rate you can adjust, and you've got some direction things here. And we're only using a tail servo, so the only one we need to worry about is yaw. And the settings I've got dialed into my Redback that work are midpoint is 1500. If you've got a bit of, if you find want to just dial in the midpoint on the servo a bit, you can adjust it. I found I don't need to. And I always set the min and maximum throws to 1100 and to 1900 typically. If you find you've got too much throw on the servo, what you want to do is adjust these symmetrically isn't the correct word, because if I bring, say for instance, the minimum up 50 to say 1150, because I don't quite want that much of a throw, then I've got to take the maximum down 50. So whatever you increase the min by, you need to decrease the max by. Okay, so if I come up to 1150, I need to go down to 1850. Okay, so you want to keep that. It's not well, it is symmetrical off center point, but it doesn't look like it's symmetrical. So if you go increase the min, you decrease the max by the same range. All right, and don't forget to save if you're going to save it. And the final thing is the direction of motion. And I showed you before, on my airframe, I need to have the yaw reversed. So tick. So without that ticked, my servo was moving the wrong direction when I wiggled the airframe, and it was moving the wrong direction when I moved the stick on my radio. So I need to click reverse the yaw in this case to get the servo pivoting the correct direction as I showed you earlier. And that's it. That's all you have to really do for the servo setup in Baseflight. And here we are in Multiwii. So I'm just going to connect to, this is a Paris Air that I've got running here. And as you can see now, that's all running and hooked up. And I've got this tab up the top here that says Servo. And now I'm going to click on Servo and I'm going to go live. And again, here you can see I've got the same sort of numbers. I've got a midpoint. Right. I've got a min and a max throw. So I've got them currently set on this one at 1200 and 1800. And over here, hiding under this bit of text, which only exists on the Mac version, on the Windows version you won't get this text overflow. You've got a little flag to reverse the yaw direction. So I found for the Redback you have that greyed out, but if you find on your tricopter your direction, as I showed you in the video, is incorrect, you would white that. Now with Multiwii, what I do is I click on the save, and then I also go back to the main tab and click write, and I find that definitely writes the servo data. It should just save on the save, but I just do the write as well, just in case. So not that hard to set up a tail servo, really. I'll see you guys online.